part 1 and 2, you've seen how my family's been involved in farming for all our lives, until we recently decided that the future was looking too depressing because of the beliefs and the changing laws that remove our property rights and freedoms. We've had several farmer friends commit suicide in recent years because of this pressure. First, I believe we need open debate on beliefs themselves. Debate on beliefs such as the world being unable to feed itself, that humanity is equal in value to slugs and bugs, and that the environment is superior to humanity. Then there is a belief that more centralist controls are good for us. Not everyone realises that minimal regulation and free markets are the best way to make the world a wealthier and better place. This graph is a result of 250 different measured parameters like cleaner air, better housing, less pollution, birth survival rates, life expectancy, etc. It shows that when a society becomes richer, then every problem is solved far better. There is no exception to this except in preventing death altogether. In 2007, Bushvision conducted an email survey of 250 rural people from across Australia. This is the percentages of respondents from each state. 93% said rural Australia did not get its issues dealt with properly by the current TV sector. 98% said rural Australia should have its own TV channel. 96% said it should be broadcast in the capital cities as well. 94% said it should be assigned from one of either SBS or the ABC's digital channels, and 83% said a community TV channel was preferable, while 70% said a government-run channel was acceptable. So it's obvious rural Australia wants its own TV channel. This would give rural Australia a chance to communicate with both its own community, plus governments, plus the urban community as well. We could come together and begin to solve our problems far better. The writers of our Constitution assumed Australia would have more states at some time in the future, and I think it's long overdue that regions form states along the lines of catchment and industry similarities. Well, Norfolk Island is 2,000 people and it functions like a state. The ACT has 335,000, the Northern Territory 198,000, and Tasmania 485,000. So point 1 is there is no real minimum size to a state. Question 2. Do new states have major upheavals when they become a new state? No. The existing state MLAs for the region consult with their electors to write a new state constitution, then form a new regional parliament, carry over all the laws from the existing state to the new one, maintaining all existing administrative arrangements, and open a new regional office where the federal government will forward the region's share of the GST based per head of population. And once all the service delivery issues are sorted out, they can get to work on setting their own regional spending priorities and amending laws according to the needs of their own community. The answer to that's yes. The head office portion of the region's government expenditure will now be spent in that region instead of the old capital city, and there it will continue to circulate and create more jobs, more local investment and more regional growth. Smaller states can also eliminate entire layers of bureaucracy, as local representatives and administrators already understand the local issues. They deal with their people much fairer and they avoid a one-size-fits-all regulatory system. Yes, the laws and policies are tailored to fit the situation in the region so they are simpler, easier and cheaper to administer. And any savings are reinvested on local priorities. These benefits of autonomy far outweigh any minor costs of running a smaller parliament. Next in my view is the need for lower and lower income and other taxes, so more new businesses get the incentive to start up. Some countries have no income taxes and are expanding rapidly. Free markets are the driver, but a safety net is, in my view, still necessary for things like people in areas where the second year of drought or a natural disaster occurs. In my view, rural Australia needs to bring as much of the decision making as possible back to the local level and set up structures for the private sector to carry out services as well. Environmental decisions should be based on data, not hype. No wasting money on an idea like carbon trading when the debate on the science has never been publicly and properly conducted. We should allow native animals to be farmed by the private sector so they are guaranteed to be conserved. We should allow privatising national parks so good environmental outcomes are achieved, including proper fire and feral animal management. We should be aiming at bringing more water to our farming community, such as a Bradfield type scheme, so we can grow and produce more food and fibre. I also see the need for encouraging communities coming together and solving their social problems. Are you aware of a town that stopped crime by meeting regularly and every resident getting to know each other's name? Homeschooling families could receive an allocation of government funds that a normal school receives per child. And we could give people more choices on insurances and superannuation options, and so on. As I said before, the basis of a healthy and wealthy society is having secure government, secure property rights, and a belief in the community that they can solve their problems. We also need freedom of the press and a greater diversity of the media, so we, the community, can debate beliefs and issues properly in public, thereby eventually dealing with false beliefs. To summarise, Australia is losing its secure property rights, it's losing its diversity of media, it's losing its freedoms, and it's losing the ability for local community problem solving. But remember, we only have the rights that others allow us to have.